for me, my health journey really accelerated once I was able to work on what I was telling myself. And then from there, I was able to take much more control of
and welcome to Women Who Market. I am so excited that you're here, and I am very excited to be interviewing my friend Shannon. She's an amazing mom, she's an incredible dancer, and a very effective realtor. And you're actually the first girlfriend that I met here in Chicago.
Oh.
So thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks so much for taking the time to do this.
Of course. Okay, so like I told you, I'm creating this space just because I want to highlight women that I admire that are doing amazing things in the world. And I just have some sections that I have prepared for you, and we're just going to start.
Sounds good.
Sounds good?
Yeah.
All right. So the first section, it's called resume.
Okay.
And it's kind of general, but not if you want.
Okay.
So it's comprised of two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, if you can tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now.
Okay.
If it's a specific job title, go for it. But sometimes I believe that, especially us, like we sometimes do everything, like we take care of a house, we take care of significant others, we work. So if you want to put it in a title, go for it. If not, something general. So that's the first part.
Okay.
And then the second part is just to tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are today.
Okay. So my name is Shannon Boyle, and my brand is Unlocking Chicago, and I'm a real estate agent with Compass in downtown or in Lincoln Park. And I run my business. So the business side of me is that I help people buy and sell residential real estate, whether that's condo, single family home, or investment properties. And I do this through education by educating people on the market and on the process so that they can take more control of that decision and they can make the best decision for themselves and their families. And then I am also a certified negotiation expert for real estate. So I can also then, once I've given the information, I can help advise people on how to negotiate all the different things, because it's not just price that you have to negotiate, and how to put together an offer. So that is how I run my business, and those are the two cornerstones that I use.
And what's the title again? That's very nice. The negotiation one?
Certified negotiation expert. I have a designation given by the National Association of Realtors, I believe.
Wow. And I bet they can use that also when you're booking, I don't know, anything in real life.
Yeah.
You can also use negotiation skills.
The amount of negotiation I do with my 6.5-year-old, like I get to practice all the time. So he is the hardest negotiation I do on a daily basis, easily.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. Didn't know that about you.
Yeah. No. It's one of those things that it's just a skill that I believe is so essential, and so. Not only that designation, but continuing to go to continuing education and having classes on how to negotiate is it's so important to me, and I want to make sure that my clients are in good hands.
That's
because
awesome.
You never know what that negotiation and what's on the other side, to have as many tools as possible to be able to navigate that for people who aren't used to doing negotiation on a daily basis.
That's awesome. So whenever you started thinking about your professional career, you immediately knew that you were going to be a realtor, or how you ended up here?
Yeah, so when I was going to college, I did not have a specific career in mind. I knew I wanted to be happy with my life, but the only thing that I really did know is that I wanted to own a house when I was older. That was the only thing I had. I wanted to have a job that I enjoyed, and I wanted to own my own house. And so I went up to college, got a history degree, did not want to teach. Everyone asked me, are you going to be a teacher? And I was like, no, not doing that. It just wasn't, that wasn't the path I wanted, even though I do enjoy education and teaching and like building knowledge. It just wasn't the path. So then when I got out of college, I went and just got a job doing data entry, and that was not fulfilling for me. It wasn't really, it wasn't exciting. There wasn't enough new things. I wasn't learning. I'm very much a lifelong learner, and when you're an entrepreneur, it's so essential to be that way. So I just wasn't learning enough, and I wasn't taking in enough new stuff. It wasn't challenging. So I, at the time, was competing in West Coast Swing, which is a couples dance, and one of my teachers at the time was also in real estate, and he's like, you know, you have a really good personality for real estate. And I was like, did he just offer me a job? Like, what's going on here? So I talked to a couple other people who, my uncle, who has been in real estate for 30 plus years at the time, and I was like, what do you think? And he thought it was a good idea if that was something that I wanted to dedicate myself to. And so I took the classes over the next year while I worked in the other job and became a real estate agent.
Wow.
And that I left my job with great benefits in December of 2007 and started my real estate career full-time January of 2008, which was not necessarily, is not what most people would think of as the best time to start in real estate.
Yeah, because that was 2008. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, because this is where, so I was in one of the largest offices in the city at the time with almost 200 agents. And for almost, I think it was 5 years, I was the newest agent in the office because everybody else who would come in after me would leave the business because it was so hard, because that's when you had all the foreclosures and the short sales. And that's when the recession that happened was because of real estate. There was an equity issue, there were mortgage issues, all these things. And so I was learning how to do the business at a time when the market was literally the most complicated and hardest market that veterans had even seen.
Oh my God.
And so I basically found a lot of people to help out with their business, and I got to practice with other people's clients and learn how to do the paperwork and learn how to do inspections. And that way, when I finally was able to build up and got my own clients, I knew what to do. And I just didn't sit there and just search the internet or try to figure out, what you do when you're an entrepreneur and don't necessarily know what to do. Because I was new in the business. I wasn't sure what to, we didn't know as much what to do. So practiced with other people's clients.
Wow.
So now this January of 2023, this is now my 15-year anniversary of being in the business.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And actually last year in 2022 was my best year ever in the business. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So
congrats.
Thanks. And I've got really big sort of exciting goals ahead, and I'm really excited for the next year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I love that you shared your story. Thank you so much for sharing it. And I also love that you kind of brought us back to all the beginning where it all started, which is the perfect segue to the next section, which is called Adam and Eve.
Okay.
And the reason why I named it Adam and Eve is because, as the name suggests, a little bit about the origin of humanity. For some people, they think that. But I think it's a good name to kind of highlight the role that women and men have in life, in the personal life and also in the professional life. I am all for women. I'm doing this because I want to help every single woman to find their way, to find their path, whatever that is. But I also admire a lot of incredible men that are in my life that have helped me so much. So that being said, I want to ask you, what's the role men have played in your life?
So I have also had I've been so blessed to be able to have really incredible men in my life, both on the personal side and on the mentoring side. So, I mean, starting with my dad, who worked super hard for the railroad and got me and my sister through all of our schooling and, you know, pushed for us to be in college. That was like I am so grateful for having him and the example that he set. And then I just had amazing mentors throughout my real estate career, starting with my godfather, who was in real estate, one of the first people I went to ask about. And he would take me out to dinner in the first few years when I was making very little money, and he would buy me dinner. And we would talk about real estate, and I would call him at all different times, and he would always answer the call. To, you know, later on in my career, as I was developing and had a lot more knowledge behind me, I had another agent, Lino Darshan, who's still a dear friend and retired now, but he took me under his wing and like introduced me to price points that I hadn't sold anything over $1 million at that time, and I just didn't have a lot of experience. And so, you know, he was bringing me to client showings and price points and properties that I had never been able to show before, and it just gave me so much confidence to be able to negotiate those things and not be intimidated by them. Because it was intimidating. This is a price point that I wasn't necessarily familiar with, and now I get to negotiate for these people. And so
he kind of helped you open the door a little bit and show you the way.
Yes.
That's very nice.
Yes.
That's very nice. So on the same topic, then what about women? What type of role have they played in your life?
So I'll go back, my mom was also like really influential. She worked and was a barber, and so her and my dad would trade off, and just again, them working together for like how to sort of build a family and be able to balance both of those things. And then in my professional life, I have a networking group it's Leads Club, and it is an all-women's group that I'm in Chicago. And it's amazing because it's all different industries, and it's great because I can build my business and talk about marketing plans or different things that I'm doing in my business with people who think about business in very different ways. So you get so many different perspectives, and it's a very supportive and encouraging thing that I have really just been able to come to and be able to sort of, have ideas, bounce ideas off people, and sometimes getting information from people who think differently than you is so important. And when you just get it from people in the industry, you just think about it like you're in the industry. So then when I'm talking to my accountant, the person who's the accountant, and the person who is the acupuncturist or, chiropractor in the group, they're coming at it from such a different perspective. And it's so growthful. Yep. So that's just been a really wonderful addition to, be able to help not only understand how I market myself, but understand how I communicate with other different styles.
Yeah. And I'm glad that they opened the space for you to learn from them and to grow with them. So that's very nice.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we're ready for the next section, which is called dictionary. Well, you're a history major, so I'm sure that your definitions are amazing.
Oh boy, okay.
But it's not like that. It's actually, it could be like that. It's up to you. So I want to bring this up about three words that to me are very important. And I also feel like at the end of the day, regardless of what we do in our lives, somehow we're trying to achieve these three things. Mm-hmm. And these three words are health, wealth, and love.
Okay.
So could you give me your definition of these 3 words?
Okay. So, health. I would say, so I have always been an athlete in my life. And currently I am actually training for my first full Ironman that
Oh my
I have signed up to do
God.
Ironman Arizona this November.
Actually, thank you for bringing that up because I forgot to mention that in the intro. Yeah, she's a badass. She does it all.
But actually, what I really feel like got me to that point, in addition to like the amazing support of my husband, who, trust me, you have to do so much training. Like, it's so helpful to have his support behind me, in addition to my career. But that I did a lot of work on like my own personal thoughts and what the dialogues that I was talking to myself. I was listening to an interview by this by a motivational speaker called Andy Andrews, and he said something that one of his mentors taught him, which was don't believe everything you think. And because when I was younger, the self-talk that I told myself about like if I was any good or how people liked me and viewed me, it was not very positive. And it took me a long time to like rewire that, and just the stuff that you tell yourself, even like the little one-off comments. And so for me, my health journey really accelerated once I was able to work on what I was telling myself. And then from there, I was able to take much more control of, like, at the time I was a nail biter, and that's like, and like, I know some people think that's gross, but like, I couldn't grow any whites on my nails because I was always so nervous.
Yeah.
I was always telling myself these things, and that's just the way it manifests. And so now I have whites on all of the nails.
I see.
And so I don't do that. And it doesn't mean that I don't like self-criticize sometimes, but it's more productive. It's not just a knee-jerk reaction that, oh, like people aren't going to like you for this, or you're failing at this. Yeah. And so once I was able to do that, I could then take control of some of those impulses, and whether that's eating or, you know, well, I don't feel like working out, like you're able to take control and like think about those things, because that all gets affected by what you tell yourself.
Okay.
This kind of goes into triathlon, but I've always been a swimmer. I was a water baby. My parents threw me in my first swim class when I was 6 months old.
Oh my goodness.
So always been in the water. But I've always been like, I am not a runner. I hate running. It's not my thing.
Yes, I remember you said that once.
And, you know, in triathlon, especially if you sign up for an Ironman, you have to do 26 miles at the end. And getting out of telling myself this negative self-talk, if I hadn't done that work, I would have never taken that risk to really challenge myself to do this really like monumental training plan and to execute this thing, if I still said in my head, I'm just not a runner. So by going through that, I am now like, no, so this is my winter of the run, and I have my first half marathon in February in Austin.
Oh my goodness.
So working my way up.
That's amazing. And I love that your definition of health, more than what some people could think about, oh, it's how I look or how my skin looks or whatever. I love that you talk about how was your relationship with yourself and your mind. And then by working on that part, then your health overall improves.
Yes.
So that's amazing.
Yes.
All right. So then what about your definition for wealth and your definition for love?
Okay. So wealth. So I think that wealth is tricky because like you can feel wealthy with very little. And then there's people that have what you would consider societally, like they have everything and they feel very poor. Mm-hmm. So I think so much of this is more like appreciating, having appreciation and gratitude for the things in your life, and then you will feel wealthy regardless of where you're at. So
that's good.
And that's like, and that's a practice that's hard. That's still a practice that I am working on. writing a couple gratitudes every day, and just telling people how I appreciate them, because I do, but sometimes it's not always comfortable to just reach out and be like, hey, I appreciate you, but you find out that like you get that in return, and when you do when you show appreciation, it really comes back at you, and that is when I feel the wealthiest.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And what about love?
Love. So love, I think, is when you see, I'll bring it down to like a specific like person or like situation. So when you can acknowledge the faults, the challenges that there is in like the situation or the person, and you love them in spite of all of that, or I don't know how to say it. Like when you just you love the whole package, and it's not that you like have blinders on that like everything's perfect and rosy, but it's that like everything that it's complex, and you just cherish that regardless, or like just with all of that packaged together.
So it's more of a feeling of just giving regardless, because there is this person that you think that it deserves all that you have inside, and it's just the action of just giving everything that I have to the person, and that's it. Like.
Well, I mean, I think that it's like you have a certain amount of like boundaries that like you have to set. Like, so when you talk about like when like people set boundaries, it's my ability to love you and me at the same time with this being said. I forget who said that.
But I understand it, and it's more of like when I said about the comment before, it's not so much about do whatever and then I'm still here. It's more of despite whatever you do, I understand where is my role with you, and I still want to give you all my love, regardless.
Yeah, that that other person isn't perfect, and it's not just like rose-colored glasses. And I love you. I love that. I mean, I do love you. I love that. I mean, you love that person, knowing that there might be a time that they screw up, or they're not going to say something right, and or they're not going to do something the way you like it, and you talk through it, or you come to the relationship being like, I believe that this person has the best intentions, and that you share that, and you can work through it, and you just always give that person the benefit of the doubt, and sometimes
I like it. I like your definition. Okay, so the next section is one of my favorite ones, and it's called the gift. And it's called like that because I truly believe that we all were born in this world with a gift, a talent, something that we're good at, that it's meant like a gift. When you have a gift, to give, right? Mm-hmm. So it's something that we're good at that we give to the world, right? And again, one of the purposes of Women Who Market is to help people to actually find their gift. Because for a lot of people, it may be very easy. Oh, I want to be a singer, I want to be a soccer player. But for other people, it takes us a very long time trying to find that. Mm-hmm. So all of that to ask, do you think that you have found your gift?
I do. And I don't think my gift is so specific. It's more of a talent that I have, that I am really good at refining a situation, like looking at a situation, getting the information, bringing it in, and then seeing pieces and areas where others haven't necessarily thought through, pointing those out, shining lights on different situations, and then coming up with like being a sounding board for having new ideas to how to potentially solve a problem or options for moving forward. This comes in really helpful in my particular career, in that part of when I'm going and looking with buyers is I always want to know what my client's goals are. Mm-hmm. And I want to know that because it's nice that it has a pretty kitchen and a pretty bathroom, But if it doesn't have enough closet space and they're currently like busting out of their closets in where they're renting, that's not going to work for people. Or they have a kid and need a lot of room for toys. Like there's a lot of different things that people need. And so knowing what my clients' goals are, I can look at a property and say, okay, well, these are the advantages and disadvantages of this. And then bring other ideas in that they might not have always been thinking of and help them clarify so that they can decide if they want to move forward on something or not, or how aggressively they want to.
Yeah.
So.
No, that is a very, very, very important gift. I would call it a gift. It's a talent, it's a gift because it's like seeing beyond the obvious.
Yes.
And that's something very hard to do. So, and I'm glad that you found a way that you can practice your gift every day.
Yes.
That's awesome. So speaking about gifts, I have a gift for you.
Oh.
And I try to keep it like very cool when you were talking about gratitude because this is actually a gratitude journal.
It says gracias. Oh, thank you.
So if you open, it's actually my mom painted it, but it's something. I'm always a big believer of writing things down. I actually have kept myself a gratitude journal since 2011 or something like that. That every night I write 3 things that I'm grateful for. Mm-hmm. So that's why I wanted to give to you. And it's kind of perfect because you were talking about expanding on your gratitude.
Yeah, well, thank you. This is so cute. I have to tell your mom, thank you, that's gorgeous.
Yes, well, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. Okay, I really don't want to end the interview, but we're leading towards the last section, which is called Luck or Destiny.
Okay.
Sometimes when things happen to me, this has always been in my mind, like when something huge happened, either good or bad, I always say to myself, like, is this luck or destiny? And I guess, I don't know if I will ever find the answer. But beyond that, I just want to keep a little bit fun. And you have shared so many amazing things. And thank you for sharing all those amazing things. So I just want to know if it's luck or destiny for you to share the last thing with us. So I have some questions here in the magic box. And can you just close your eyes and pick one? Oh my God, I am so curious about which one it is. we heard talk about a question, but no, that one didn't come up. So the one that came up is, what book do you recommend?
Okay. So the book that I read most recently that I really like, so I read a lot more fiction, and it's called The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue.
Okay.
And it's about a woman who isn't happy with like the life, and this is like, I forget, like the 1700s in France. And so she makes a deal with death, basically, that she wants to be free. And in that deal, he grants it to her for her soul. And he basically makes everyone forget her. And so it's about how, like, it's the balance between freedom and the freedom, like personal freedom, and your relationship with people and society and how that goes, and about sort of her struggles with that. And like, she's also like, she doesn't want to make death win. And so, or whatever. Yes. So, and it's just really, and so it goes over time and it goes into like modern times. And I really found that to be so interesting. And fun.
Very. And can you say the name again?
The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue.
Addie LaRue. Okay, now we have something to read. You see? Well, Shannon, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
I enjoyed it and I learned so much more than like I already knew about you. So thank you for sharing. And I will share her information. So if you are here in Illinois, or if you're planning to move to Illinois, if you want to sell or buy your house, here's the person. So yeah, thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for everybody for watching us, and we'll see you soon. Bye. Okay, so we talked about the craziest, what is the craziest thing you've ever done?
Yeah.
And that didn't come up, but you still have to tell that story.
Okay. So I was trying to choose between some small liberal arts colleges in the Midwest. And it was between a college up north in Wisconsin and a different college, Grinnell, that I went to in Iowa.
Okay.
And I was really worried about Grinnell because I thought that the people there were going to be like too smart for me, so I was scared. And so but I liked this other college. They also had really good academics, and I liked the swim team. And so I was going to go there. But I hadn't told anybody yet. Like I hadn't made anything official. So they send me another marketing package. It was like, hey, come and like accept your offer for college acceptance. And in that package was a little slivered cheese topper. And I flipped out. And so, this seems really weird, but I am a lifelong Chicagoan Bears fan, and the only thing I can think of is, I'm not gonna be a cheesehead, like Packers fan. I can't do this. And it wasn't really about that. It was that I was, I think I went back, reevaluated my decisions, and decided, again, we talked about that sort of negative self-talk, that I wanted to take that risk and go to a place that I thought was going to be even more challenging, and had a great experience there with my college career. But I rethought it because of the cheese topper.
Oh, did you picture yourself with a cheese? Then
Yes.
You're like, no, I don't want to.
It's like I can't. I imagine somebody running after me with a cheese hat, and me just being like, "No, you're not gonna make me wear it."
Yeah, you see, look, a perfect example of marketing that either can attract customers or can detract them. Good or bad, we don't know, because then you actually landed a way better opportunity.
Yeah, I loved my opportunity at Grinnell. I ended up, our swim teams competed very regularly, and we did beat them.
See?
So.
See? And then it was something that you were kind of like afraid of doing, and you actually did it, and I'm sure that now you obviously don't regret it.
No, I'm still very involved with my college and do alumni events and plan some of them. So.
And then you told me that day.
Yeah, so my parents bought me this little pendant of Grinnell College when I graduated. And so I still wear this just to remind myself to believe in yourself and take risks. Because you don't, when you doubt yourself and other people believe in you, sometimes you need to believe them.
Yes.
Not listen to your negative self-talk.
Exactly. Believe in yourself and take risks. I like it. Well, thank you. Hi, and now you get an extra bonus from Shannon. There you go.